All right, well, let's get started. So if you join the group this week and you're like, hey, I'm really looking for Zoom and Google Meet tips, no worries. We are definitely going to be talking about that as we get a little closer to the end of August, but we wanted to kind of have a topic to start off with, and screencasting seemed to be, from the polls I looked in from people in the group this week, to be something a lot of people had in common and either do regularly or are kind of interested in starting. So screencasting is a personal passion for me. I think about the year before COVID, I really started using screencasting in my classroom. Like, I knew how to screencast, but I wasn't really using it regularly. And if I was using it, it was more for like an entertainment purpose to like pump up a novel we were going to read. But I started using it instructionally. The year before COVID, I had a class that I had like 30 kids in a reading class, and it was just one of those years where I had never had such a diverse group of students. They were just really at so many different areas, and I was really struggling to meet everyone's needs. And so I started playing around with screencasting because I had students who would finish projects early and be ready to move on. I had students who needed more remediation. I had students that were chronically absent in the class, and I was constantly kind of trying to catch them up. So I started using a lot of screencasting for my lessons in order to try to meet all those students' needs. And I kind of tiered out some of my screencasts, and also to help those students who were absent a lot get caught up with the class. And I ended up just kind of falling in love with screencasting because I was just kind of able to be the best teacher I could be, and I was able to really support all the students. So we're going to talk a little bit about today, like when I talk to people about screencasting and I coach people in it, some of the things that I kind of hear and see and some of the observations I've had, and hopefully help you think about screencasting in a different way for your classroom this year. And then if there's a little time left, because I wanted to keep this about 15 minutes, I'll demo a little bit of my favorite screencasting tool. So let's dive in here. So do you use screencasting in your classroom? Throw it in the comments. Do you? Have you never? A few times? All the time? I'd love to know. So go ahead and put that in the comments. Let us know. If you're watching this on replay, please go ahead and still participate. All right. So, a little bit about me is I have my doctorate in educational leadership. As you can see, I kind of love to go to school. I have all kinds of certifications. And let's see, but what most people, I would say, don't know about me is before I was a teacher, I did work in video production and live television. I lived in Westchester, Pennsylvania. If you know the area, you probably know the live home shopping network I worked at. And I also ran my own video production business. Then I met my husband, who's a teacher. I became a teacher. I started in video production, then somehow ended up in the English classroom, and now I'm working as an instructional coach. I really believe that video and audio, they are not just something that happened during COVID. They're the new norm. We have just so much evidence that they support and help our students and help our teachers be better teachers. So I really think that you should continue to pursue any of your ideas with video because it's just going to become part of how we teach, if it hasn't for you already. I would have to say, well, I wanted to talk a little bit today when I talked about that different way of thinking about using screencasting. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how can you automate your classroom a little bit more with screencasting? How can you make your life easy with screencasting? So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about today. So when we're done with the training today, I really want you to come away with at least one video that you could make that could make your teacher life or instructional life easier. So we think about our students in screencasting lessons, but there's a lot of protocol and how to and basic things that you do again and again and again in your profession that you could probably make a screencast for and make your life a whole lot easier. So that's what we're going to kind of focus on today. What is it that you can make a screencast for that would make your life easy? What questions are you answering all of the time? What things do you kind of hate going over all of the time? What's an area that you're always remediating in that a screencast could help mitigate that like stress and time that you spend doing that. So while we're talking about this today, think about a video you can do. When you think about that video, if you have one, hit it in the chat. It might inspire somebody else, or in the comments below here on the live. So let's, because I don't think I have my chat on. I'm pretty new to the whole live thing. So I think you might have to put it in the comments below. That's totally okay. So I kind of got inspired with this kind of minimalistic or automated thinking about screencasting when I read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek several years ago, because I just felt like I was working so much. And as you can see here, that teachers work just a ridiculous amount of time. And it's way more than our contracted hours. And it's this kind of misnomer that we have all of this time off. We do, but we spend a lot of hours outside our contracted paid amount of time working. So when I read the novel, The 4-Hour Workweek, it was like, we can't do that for teachers. How could you do that? He talks all about how to automate in the business world. So really it hit me when I was thinking about it, well, we could screencast and start to automate some of the things we do in the teaching world. So what is automation? As you probably know, it's a technology where, and how we could use it with screencasting, it's using technology as an intervention for a predetermined process and systems to help you create systems to make things easier. So what I hear when I coach teachers using screencasting, the thing I hear at all the conferences I go to, or when I work with teachers one-on-one, is like, hey, why aren't you using screencasting in your classroom? It would probably make things a lot easier for you. And I hear these 3 things over and over again, that they don't know where to get started with tools. And that's why we're kind of starting this group talking about this. They're not sure what content they should be screencasting, and what they should just be doing in class, what they should be doing in class and screencasting, what should maybe just be a screencast, and they don't think their students are going to watch their videos. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about being more confident on video, and we're also going to be talking that week and the following week about how to make sure your videos are more engaging and how to guarantee that your students are watching them. All right, so I know that this group for video, it is a video tips group. Most of you joining seem to have a lot of experience in Zoom and screencasting and Google Meets and other forms as well. I saw QuickTime in there this week and OBS. Some people were using that. And so we've got some really talented people in the group. But I thought we should kind of start at the beginning and talk a little bit quickly about what screencasting is, because maybe you really haven't had an opportunity to reflect on it. But we know that it's a video recording where you can record your computer screen. You can use it to, we also hear it called, I call it screencasting, but you can call it screen capture or screen recording. And why I really promote it is it's because it is a super low barrier entry into video for anyone. You don't even need to be a teacher. If you are looking to get involved in video or you want to make videos, that low barrier entry is that most people own a laptop with a webcam and a mic, because most computers come with those nowadays, right? You can also use an iPad, and we're going to talk in this group about using your phone as well in the future, but I just want to start really simple. Anybody can download a free extension in Google Chrome Store to set up a screencast. So that's the one thing I want to encourage you about, that screencasting is just really easy and kind of have no excuse not to do one, right? All right, so let's think about things that you can screencast. Like, we're going to talk a little bit today about things that might be easier, like screencasting a welcome video, screencasting something that is maybe a procedure you're constantly telling your students or your staff about. Maybe it's how to log on to something. I know last year at the end of the year, I was getting really overwhelmed with all of the new logins and programs and testing platforms that I was learning, and I couldn't remember how to log into everything after a while if I hadn't done it in a while, or I couldn't remember my password, and then I had to spend all of this time like relearning how to like log in or put students in it or check the test scores. So I started quickly just screencasting, doing those things. So in the future, I just went back and watched, like, oh yeah, here's how I add students. Oh, let me go watch my screencast really quick and see like what was my login again, or how did I do that one thing? And it really kind of saved my sanity. And before that, I was really just using screencasting more for like things for my students. So documents, web pages, spreadsheets, and other videos and PowerPoints or slide presentations. You can record yourself. You can be picture in picture like I am now. You can be full screen. There's just so many choices with screencasting to get information out there. Hopefully I'm making sense here. Screencasting you can capture your screen, right? You can turn on your webcam. I just kind of talked about that. It's picture in picture. And why I recommend Screencastify. So I recommend Screencastify because I find it to be one of the easiest easiest extensions to use. And I also know that it was made for teachers in mind. And you can see right there, I had a video earlier this week that I posted on how to get this extension and how to get set up. Sorry, I hear a lot of traffic right now. Sorry about that. And so you can go and watch that video if you want to learn how to set up your screen recording. But one of the other things is it integrates really well with Google. And it's really built for schools. Like Screencastify was made for teachers, where some of the other screen platforms were made for different things and they were adapting it to teaching over COVID. This extension was really made for teachers in mind first. And there's all of these free courses and certifications they offer through their platform to make sure that you are using them better. So, and I really encourage you to go try some of them out. You can see there I have taken the Genius course and I learned so much from that course, and then you get a little certification there. And I also got a little badge that I could put on my email when I send emails to people to let them know that I am certified in Screencastify. Also, what I like about Screencastify is they offer a really short 10-minute course for students. So if you want to get your students screencasting, you don't even have to actually teach them how to do it. You can have them all go take the 10-minute Master Screencast Junior course, and they actually can all get a little certificate to say they passed it. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's see. Another reason I really like Screencastify and why I really recommend it for people who are starting out, or if you're not really, sold on the screencasting program that you're using now, is because it has all of these different ways to get your videos out to your students. And I think that is a really big issue. I know I have some people in this group that do a lot of editing with their videos and they know what they're doing, but you go girl and guy if that's you. But I would recommend if you're starting out with video to use very little to no editing, because the point of making an instructional video is getting good content out to your students as fast as possible. Okay, they don't care if you mumble or mess up a little bit. If you do, just close your eyes, take a deep breath, start over. People are really forgiving with screencasts, I found. But you want to get your videos out to students as quickly as possible. So some of the ways you can do that is you can publish directly to YouTube here. You can go directly to sharing to Google Classroom. You can download it. You can make it an MP4. You can actually make it an audio file as well, which is pretty awesome because you could actually use that for a podcast. So there's so many options on how to get your screencast out there. You can make a copy in your Google Drive. You can email it and share it to people. There's just so many options, and that's one of the reasons I like this particular screencasting extension, because it's very easy to make your video and get it out to the people who need to see it. All right. So teachers have a lot of systems and processes in their day and in their yearly teaching. And by making some automated screencasts, we're kind of coming back full circle to that automated screen. Think about a video that you can make that is going to make your life so much easier, right? What is something you can do that might solve some immediate problems, that might be causing you some anxiety about getting back into the classroom, or that thing that you dread to do? Could you make a screencast of it this year? I would love to know if you've got one that you're thinking in your mind. I've got a few at the top of my head that I could make right now, this evening, and it would probably make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. Please let me know. I can do things by request. Obviously, if there's more you want to know, there's different areas you want to learn about, just let me know. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will see you next Thursday with another training. Bye-bye.